413 WTIC News Talk 1080, and we're going to take a little reprieve from the Zimmerman discussion and to cut into something that I talked about on my blog. State Representative Sean Williams, representing Oakville and portions of Oakville, is on the line with us. So listen, in my blog today, there's a couple of issues here. And in my blog, I said something to the effect that the Malloy supremacy has it out for the Connecticut hospitals. First, you had the $550 million cut to the hospitals. We're going to lose thousands of jobs. It's already happening every week. Then, last week, and this really shocked people, when the governor vetoed a bill that is going to possibly sink the merger between the Waterbury Hospital and Vanguard Health Systems. I think it also affects Bristol as well. But as I understand it, Sean, this was a bill that the governor's own staff was working on and negotiating on, and then it sounds like the labor guys got involved.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's one of those classic cases of why people don't like politicians and hate politics. I mean, we had a handshake deal. There is no question about it. There were people in the room from the governor's office, Republican legislators, Democrat legislators, staff, representatives of the city of Waterbury, Vanguard, Waterbury Hospital, et cetera. Everybody was sitting around the table. Everybody agreed that this was good to go. You make certain assumptions, of course, that if everybody shakes hands on a deal, that a deal is a deal, and that the governor will sign the bill should it be passed. And here we are. And the governor vetoed it. He broke the deal, and it was only a result of labor unions coming in and raising a lot of
kind of going in the back door, Sean. It sounds like. Now, without getting into the weeds, I mean, this was an issue that allows some flexibility to a Vanguard in order to who they can hire as doctors and so forth. And it sounds like the unions have already tried to mess up a couple of other deals. We know that. And it also, if you look at the governor's comments, he's basically with a wide brush saying, well, for-profits and mergers really aren't very good, and we got to think about this some more. Well, while he's thinking about it, there are opportunities that are slipping through everybody's fingers.
Well, he didn't want to think about it when we were all sitting in a room negotiating the bill and made this agreement. I mean, nobody was more shocked than me to see that he had vetoed this when, look, and this is inside baseball, but I think your listeners can appreciate this. At the end of the legislative session, there was a flurry of activity. The legislative session wrapped up on June 5th at midnight. There's a flurry of activity. Bills are getting passed at a very fast pace, and the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate are not going to call a bill that they know the governor is going to veto. They called this bill because there was an understanding amongst a group of people that this bill would be signed by the governor and that there would be able to be a financial rescue of Waterbury Hospital by this for-profit entity called Vanguard. Look, I understand that the labor unions don't want to negotiate with a for-profit entity, and I understand why they raised havoc, even if I don't like it. The least the governor could have done is say, guys, I'm not going to sign this bill if you pass it. But instead, he agreed to it, let it go through the legislative process, and then took everybody by surprise and vetoed it. And look at, I mean, you're from Waterbury. You're one of Waterbury's best champions. This is the second time in the last 2 years that our hospitals have had a chance at being rescued by private capital, not by some state intervention.
Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Last time.
What do you think the next guy is going to say when he comes along and looks at the?
He's not going to bother.
And says, nobody's going to involve themselves in Connecticut. They'd be crazy to.
Sean, the first one imploded because the Permanent Commission on the Status of Women had veto power. Where do they come from? Well, hey, you want to go on hold?
Look,
go on hold.
Look who had veto power. Big Labor, one of Dan Malloy's greatest allies. It's such a disgrace to have.
I'm going to put you on hold, Shawnee. 423 WTIC. And I have on the line State Representative Sean Williams from Oakville, Connecticut. Quick question. Well, let me ask you this. Wouldn't you say that what happens to Waterbury Hospital and St. Mary's, merging for-profit, the economic vitality of the city and the future of the city is predicated on what happens to the two largest employers in the community?
Of course it is, and look, I don't want to be an alarmist or the boy that cried wolf, but we've had two deals go down in the last 2 years where a for-profit entity tried to rescue at least one of our two hospitals, and in the other case tried to merge them both together. Both of those failed. One of them a direct result of what the governor did. You have to ask yourself, if the quality of health care declines in the city and the quality of the financial condition of the two hospitals continues to decline, what's going to happen? Eventually, you're not going to have any more private interest in rescuing the hospitals, and the state's going to have to take them over. And I'm sure that SEIU would much rather deal with the state of Connecticut, where they've been very successful. The big labor's been very successful in dealing with this administration. I think they'd much rather deal with the state than some, not a for-profit company. And that's why they opposed this, and that's why the governor vetoed it.
So it's down to the literally a political head-to-head with the unions versus some unknown entities.
I mean, what other reason would there be for somebody to make a deal, and then the only thing that changed was big labor's opposition to it?
That's right. And he said, "Oh no, that's not the real reason. We need to think about this more." And also the perfect storm, Sean. You've got Obamacare and the uncertainty and wherever that is going, and you have the $550 million cut to 30 hospitals across Connecticut. So that perfect storm creates some real havoc in the industry and the business.
Yeah, I don't understand what this disdain is in the administration for the hospital community. I mean, I hear Democrats often say to me, "Well, I can't believe that such and such hospital CEO makes $1 million or whatever," and it's such a short-sighted way of looking at the world, given the business that they're running and given how truly minimal that is in the context of the entire hospital budget. But there's always this class warfare business that goes on with Democrats, especially in Connecticut, and I don't get it. It's just something that I never viewed the world like that, and I know you never viewed the world like that, but boy, it's really troubling, and I think it's troubling to the investment community who may think twice about coming to Connecticut and trying to rescue companies.
And be honest with you, as I'm watching all of this unfold, it's a mystery. I don't know why and in my blog I said they have it out for these Connecticut hospitals. And I've been keeping a running tally, and so far about 7 or 8 hospitals have announced major layoffs, wage freezes, all kinds of cutbacks, reduction of services, getting rid of daycare for their employees, and the list goes on. So you're going to see well over 1,000 people lose their jobs from this cut alone.
Well, this is just like, how Governor Malloy and his administration blame previous governors and for the financial condition that the state is in, and how they blame Republicans who are in the minority and have been since the better part of the late 90s for this current state of the financial condition of Connecticut. And it just goes to show you, like, it's everybody else's fault. It's never our fault. We're doing the right thing. Trust us. And you know what? After a while, people stop trusting you, especially when you do what he did, which is break his word. Well,
and in politics, you and I know your word is your bond, and once that's violated, it's hard for people to really make an agreement with somebody else again.
Well, Governor Malloy missed that chapter in the How to Be a Governor book, I can tell you that.
Last thought, we had Kevin Whitcoast was on yesterday, and he was talking about his Tell the Truth campaign, bringing up some issues. I think he's going to do this a little bit more. Do you see more activity from Republicans in the House and the Senate doing this type of stuff?
Yeah, look, we're out doing the campaign on the gas tax issue. We're out gathering signatures and educating voters as to why we're in the situation that we're in with regard to the gas tax. There's a number of us who are interested in working on a review of our state's, craziest regulations, the things that are most inhibiting small business, and we're calling attention to that. And it's not always, as angry as I am with the governor for what he did, it's not always this governor's fault as to why a law or a regulation is on the books, but we should be working together on identifying those things and changing them. Hopefully there will be some bipartisan support for that. Yeah, I do see that, and it's kind of exciting to be a part of that movement. I think I'm really proud of my colleagues in both the House and the Senate on the Republican side who are doing yeoman's work to bring some common sense to the state.
Sean Williams, State Representative representing the Oakville community. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Gov. Good luck with the blog. Thank you.
Thank you.